Missouri leaders spent the day tackling regional housing issues. WGEM's Claire Edlund is joining me now to explain how leaders with Northeast Community Action Corporation hope to help. Claire?
Daniel, an array of experts spoke today about finding affordable housing and lowering utility bills at the Tri-State Housing Summit. But one key takeaway was self-help housing.
It was a simple process. I did a complete setup around my whole house.
Hannibal resident Kenneth Hemphill can't help but show off his new and improved home.
Those have made a big difference on the vision from inside of the house to outside of the house. It brings more light to the inside of the house.
He says he has NECAC's self-help housing program to thank.
It's designed to help people help themselves.
Hemphill says for 1 year, a NECAC construction supervisor came by his home with tools, supplies, and knowledge so Hemphill can make his own home repairs. Today, he speaks at the Tri-State Housing Summit to talk about how the repairs have helped lower his energy bill and increase his home's value. And it seems like he's inspired others, too.
My residents around me and people around me are starting to improve their areas.
At the summit, USDA officials awarded NECAC $365,000 to continue the self-help housing program for 2 more years.
This project will assist 48 very low homeowners in 8 counties.
The program's single-family housing director, Lindsay Cheek, says a well-kept home brings up the property value for the owner and their neighbors.
So really, these programs help everyone.
And low-income residents and veterans are eligible to apply for the self-help housing program and other NECAC programs as well. Claire Edlund, WGEM News.
Thank you, Claire. And if you would like to find out more, we have a link on our website, WGEM.com.